All right, recording in progress. Hey everyone, my name is Nick Hayland. I am the data processing and capability lead here at Tessellation. Really excited about today's topic. We're going to be talking about Tableau CRM, so customer relationship management, right? If you have not heard of that yet, or that term, it is what is formerly known as Einstein or Einstein discovery, if you're maybe more familiar with that. But if you're not, you're in the right place because today we're going to be reviewing that. Alex Carter, consultant at Tessellation, will be running through a demo with us today and kind of telling us all about what Tableau CRM is, how it can help you, and maybe why to choose that versus maybe something else. So Alex Carter is a consultant at Tessellation Data Coach, where we modernize analytics and business intelligence for organizations by strategically building and coaching and doing all the fun things that is the world of data. So with that, I will not take up any more important time here. Alex Carter, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. Hey, everyone. So yeah, as Nick said, I'll be talking about Tableau CRM during this webinar. It'll be partly informative, just answering questions around what Tableau CRM is, what Salesforce is, and then I'll get into some of the features of the platform and just show some technical examples of what can be done. And then I'll end by answering some common questions that I've been asked about the platform, and I can also answer any questions that come up in the chat during that time. So with that being said, I will share my screen. We can get started. All right. Can you all, Nick, can you see my screen?
Looking good. I see a nice little dashboard there.
Yep. Cool. All right. So what you're seeing here is the homepage of my Salesforce instance. And why I'm starting off showing you Salesforce is because Tableau CRM is an end-to-end analytics solution built on top of Salesforce. So before we dive into Tableau CRM, I just wanted to give an overview of what Salesforce is for those that might be unfamiliar. So if you look here, you'll see a bunch of different tabs across the top of the page, and these are called objects. So just to back up, Salesforce is a customer relationship management software platform, and it is in the cloud. And so what customer-facing teams typically use Salesforce to manage relationships with their customer base. And they do so by storing data within Salesforce and keeping track of their interactions. So for example, there's an opportunity object, which I'll click on here. And this is primarily used by sales teams to keep track of their sales opportunities, the status of them, as well as information about the opportunity. So if you, these are all individual opportunity records. So if I click on an example record, you can go in this details tab and you can see information about this specific opportunity. And you can also navigate to different objects by clicking related fields. So every opportunity is associated with an account. And so you'll see that this made up opportunity is linked to this account. So if you click that, it'll open up that specific account where you can see general information about the account, like the opportunities that are related to it, the contacts that are aligned to that account. And if you click this details tab, information about the specific account, like the number of employees that work there, annual revenue, the industry of the account, so on and so forth. You can create different fields within these objects to store whatever type of data you want. And the objects can relate to one another. And really the way I like to think about Salesforce is that it's really just a super customizable database with a fancy user interface on the top of it. So within the database, you have different tables that store information. So you can think of these objects as tables within the database that store information, and they relate to one another. So that is just a quick overview of what Salesforce is, since we'll be interacting with the Salesforce platform while walking through some of the features and functionality of Tableau CRM. So now that we have covered off on that, I'll show you how to access Tableau CRM. So up in this top left corner, you'll see the app launcher. And if you click Analytics Studio, you'll be brought into the Tableau CRM homepage. And this is what the homepage looks like once you open it up. So there are three main features of Tableau CRM. There's a ton of functionality within the platform, but really everything kind of ladders up to three features, those being data management, data visualization, and data science. So I'm going to go through each of these features, show what you can do within each of them, and then kind of tie everything back to why Tableau CRM is important, what the use case for the platform is, and when you would really choose to use Tableau CRM over other visualization or data processing or even data science tools. So let's begin by looking at the data management features. So down here, you'll see Data Manager. And so if you click that, you are brought to Data Manager. And so we're going to start down here on the Connect tab. So what you can do within Data Manager is you can connect to different data. You can connect directly to the data within your Salesforce environment. So as I showed before, I can pull in information from my opportunity object or my account object, contact object, anything that's stored within my Salesforce instance, I can bring it in to Tableau CRM using this Connect tool. I can also connect to external data. So I can connect to different databases, data warehouses, or external applications and bring that data in to Tableau CRM. And then you can schedule data refreshes so that your data is up to date and there aren't inconsistencies between the source system of your data and Tableau CRM. And you can also combine data sources and prepare everything and get it ready to analyze within Data Manager. So I'll just give you a quick overview of what I just talked about. So on the Connect page, you'll see all of your different connections that you've established already. So as you can see here under SFDC local, these are all of my Salesforce objects. So I'm bringing in data currently from the account and opportunity object, and I've also made connection to these other objects within Salesforce. And then down here, you'll see some of the other connections that I've made. So I've made a connection to Snowflake and Google BigQuery and Azure Synapse. And just for context, here are, if you click this Connect to Data button in the top right corner, we're within input connections. If you click add a connection, you can see all the different connections that you can make. So this Salesforce connector is how you bring in data from your own Salesforce instance. And to do so, you just need to plug in your Salesforce credentials. You can also connect to Marketing Cloud. And as I mentioned before, different data warehouses like Redshift, BigQuery, databases, and just different external applications. So yeah, you can bring in a lot of data into Tableau CRM. And once you have set up a connection, it'll show up in the Connect tab and you can schedule it to refresh. So over here, you'll see that I haven't scheduled anything. But if I wanted to schedule a data sync, you can click this drop down arrow, you can click schedule, and then you can choose your cadence. So if I wanted to schedule my Salesforce data to refresh at 12 a.m. every business day, I would just select this cadence, click save, and then it would refresh beginning at 12 a.m. tonight. So that is how you can connect to data within Tableau CRM, specifically bringing data into Tableau CRM from Salesforce and other source systems. There are some other options. I'm not going to get too into them, but you can set up a MuleSoft connection, which is just middleware software. You can create a live connection, which is only available for Salesforce CDP and Snowflake, and that just queries data directly from Snowflake, and it's live data. And you can also write data to certain applications, like you'll see here. But I'm going to focus on just bringing data into Tableau CRM from Salesforce during this demo. And I'm specifically going to focus on the account and the opportunity objects. And so once you've made a connection, you can choose the different fields that you want to bring in. So you can select everything, or you can select just certain fields if you don't want to bring in all of the data that's stored within an object. Then you can click continue, and you can just review everything. One thing you want to check is making sure that the data types are correct. And if they aren't, you can click edit and you can change the field type here. But that is how you choose. Once you've made a connection to an object, whether it's in Salesforce or external, then you can select what fields within that object you want to bring in. And you can view all that within the Connect tab, and then you can schedule it to refresh. So once you've done that, you can prepare it for analysis using one of Tableau CRM's data preparation tools. There are two data prep tools. One is called Data Flow, and the other is Recipes. Both are low code or no code data prep tools with visual interfaces. And I can just show you what they both look like. So this is what the data flow looks like. And I'm not going to get into the differences between the two tools during this webinar, but they are very similar tools. And I'm going to stick to recipes during this because they're just easier to see from a visual perspective, and you can kind of preview data when you're building your recipe. So this is an example of what a recipe looks like. And for those that have used Tableau Prep, recipes are very similar to Tableau Prep in terms of what you can do from a data processing perspective. So I closed out the data manager. So if you wanted to create a new recipe, I'll just show you what can be done. So you start by adding input data, and your input data can be a data set that you've created, or it can be any of the objects that you connected that I showed you in this Connect tab. So if I wanted to bring in data from like the account or opportunity object within Salesforce, I would click connected data, and then I would find within the SFDC local, I would find account or opportunity. So I'll just click opportunity. Whoops. It is being very slow. So instead of waiting for that to load, I'll just show you what I've already built. So here I made that connection to the opportunity object, and I selected what fields I wanted to bring in. So I'm bringing in all of these fields that you can see in the preview. And then I am joining these two objects on this field called account ID. And how I'm doing that is, if you remember before, when we looked at a specific opportunity, each opportunity is associated with a specific account. So, and these two objects are joined together by this ID up in the URL. So we're able to join the two data sets on a specific ID. So that is what's happening here. Account ID is equal to account ID. Then in the next stage, I am filtering data. And basically the goal of this specific recipe that I was building was creating a training data set for a predictive model that I was using. And what this predictive model was used for was trying to predict the likelihood that an opportunity is to be won. So I want to train my data set looking at all of our opportunities that have been won, and then I want to apply that model to our open opportunities to see how likely it is that they'll be one, and then I can get the output of the prediction, and I can use it to prioritize my workload. So just to show you kind of what else can be done within a recipe, you can see you can also transform data. So this is where you would write expressions. So you can write conditional statements. If then you can aggregate your data. You can make predictions about your data. And the end result of your recipe or data preparation is output. And what the output does is it takes all your transformations that you've made, and then it outputs the end result to a data set. And what a data set is just the foundation for your data visualizations that you'll make, along with the predictions that you'll make. And these get stored back in the homepage of Tableau CRM under your items. And so this specific recipe was stored within this app, which is located here. And you can see the different data sets that I've stored. So just to reiterate what can be done within Data Manager, you can connect to your Salesforce data. You can connect to external data. You can schedule data refreshes to keep your data in sync with your source systems. And then you can prepare your data for analysis using either a data flow or a recipe. So you can combine your data, you can make predictions from your data, and the end result of your data preparation is always a data set. So I'm going to just show you a demo while I walk through the data management, data visualization, and data science features of Tableau CRM. And the demo is going to be, we're going to pretend that I'm a sales rep and I have a bunch of opportunities that I am trying to win, but I only have a limited amount of time to work on these opportunities. So I want to prioritize my workload, and I want to only spend time on the opportunities that are most likely to close or the ones that I'm most likely to win. And so to get that information, I'm going to show you how to build a predictive model that will take information from our different opportunities. So we will pull in values from these different fields. Then we will make a prediction, so the probability that a specific opportunity is going to close. And then we will visualize that information, and we will share it with our sales team so that they can prioritize their workload. So to do that, First, we need to build a training data set, which is kind of what I walked through a little bit already, where we're pulling in different data from the opportunity and the account objects. We're joining it on the account ID, and we're only pulling in the opportunities that we've won, and then we're outputting the end results to a data set. So now that we've gone through data management, I can transition into the data visualization capabilities in general, and then show you a data visualization that will help the sales team prioritize their workload. Before I get into that, Nick, were there any other questions or anything that you wanted me to elaborate on within Data Manager?
Yeah, nothing in the chat that I'm seeing yet, but one thing I was kind of interested in is obviously coming from our fun drag and drop processing world. How robust is that space? I know you mentioned it's a lot like Tableau Prep. Like, are there functionalities where you can, you join on the account ID, and so now you have two account IDs in your data set. Is there a way to like get rid of those fields if you're done using them? Would be interesting in some of the, even some of the more deeper dive functionality of that space for the recipe.
Yeah, for sure. So let's just open this recipe again. And yeah, basically most of your advanced data preparation functionality is going to happen within the transform tool. That is where you can do, basically these are all the different options that you can apply to your data set within transform. So you can do a custom formula.
Yeah.
This is where you write your case statements, which are basically just if-then statements. But you can also use a lot of pre-built functions. You can do a lot of formatting here. You can also drop columns. So as you mentioned before, we have an account ID from both the opportunity data set and we have an account ID from the account data set. So you could add a transform tool, and you could add this drop columns, and then you could select one of the account IDs that you want to drop and then click apply, and then the preview will show you only one account ID.
Nice. And logs the steps over there to the left so you can.
Yep. And you can, logs all of your different formulas that you've built on the left-hand side here, and you can create as many formulas as you want. And there's also just some predictive analytics tools built in, so you can do some clustering analysis of a data set. You can do time series forecasting. Also, if you've built a predictive model, you can also apply that model directly to your data set. So like this win likelihood model could run on this specific data set, but I'll get into that a little bit more later.
I like it. I guess one other question too, and maybe we'll get into this later. Is this data management piece a core piece of the Tableau CRM, I guess, license, or is this like an add-on, or?
This is a core piece of the license. That is one of the common questions, just around like licensing and what's available. So I can touch on that a bit right now. So there are 3 different licenses you can get. One is just the Einstein prediction license, which just gives you access to predictive analytics. It doesn't give access to Tableau CRM. So that is your data management stuff that I've been walking through.
Right.
There's a Tableau CRM growth license that gives you access to just Tableau CRM, but not the Einstein predictions. So you have access to this data management suite, and you can also build visualizations from your data sets that you've built. And then Tableau CRM Plus is the license that combines both Tableau CRM with Einstein Discovery.
Makes sense. So everything up to right now, CRM growth.
Yep.
And then what you're about to cover now, Einstein, is that license.
Correct. So yeah, for the purposes of this demo, I am going about as if I have a Tableau CRM Plus license, because I'll be building a predictive model, and I'll also be I'm also using Data Manager to build a data set, and then I'm going to visualize data from that specific data set.
Cool. Yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
No problem. All right, so now let's get into some of the visualizations that you can make. So I just want to open up this recipe again, just so I can see the name of the data set that I created. So this training data set was called the opportunity data set. So if I go back to the home page, within this app, basically an app is where you store all of your Tableau CRM creations. So you can see different dashboards you've built, stories, which I'll get into, lenses, and data sets. So let's talk about visualizations. So visualizations are built on top of the data sets that you've created. So I have built the opportunity data set, and this is meant to be the training data set for my predictive model. So if you click on a data set that you've built, Tableau CRM will open up what's called a lens, and the lens lets you visually explore the data that you have built. So it will open up just by showing you the count of rows that you have, but you can build, visualizations based on certain fields. So we could see the number of records by industry. You could view everything as a values table. And you can just select the fields that you want to view here. And you can also, if we go back to chart mode, you can also build different visualizations from your data set within a lens. And similar to Tableau, each pre-built visualization will show you how many different dimensions or measures that you need to include in order to build that specific visualization. So you'll see if we want a stacked bar chart, it requires at least one measure. A pyramid chart would require 2 measures plus groupings. And so you can click on these and then it will adjust from there, and then you can select what you want to view as a bar, for instance. And so once you've built a lens, or I primarily use lenses just to explore the data set, make sure everything looks correct. But also you can copy and paste the lens to a larger dashboard. And it can be just one of the many pieces of a dashboard. So to do that, you can click this Clip to Designer tool. And then once you've built a dashboard, you can paste it directly in your dashboard. You can also share a lens with a specific Salesforce user. So if you wanted to just create a dashboard, you have 2 options. You can choose a blank dashboard, just create from scratch, or you can build a dashboard from a template. And there are a lot of great templates already pre-built by Salesforce, just based on common use cases that they've come across. And really what the template will do is it'll build basically everything for you. So it'll take common objects that like a sales team would look at, like your opportunity objects, and it can build like a sales KPI dashboard for you, which you can then later adjust based on your requirements. I'm just gonna I'll just show you what a blank dashboard looks like. And so you get a blank canvas like this, and then you drag and drop different widgets onto this canvas. So if you wanted to bring a chart on here, you can drag it here and then you click this chart button, and then you can select a data set that you want to link to. and then it'll open up that same lens view that we were looking at before. So if I just want to view something like that, I click done, then it gets dropped on the canvas, and then from there, I can resize it however I want. If you want to bring like a table on here, you can grab the table icon, drag it on here, click table, and it's linked to my correct data set. And then you could, for instance, just create some sort of values table that you wanted to view. And then you can adjust the settings just to make sure that everything fits properly. Where's spacing? So you can fit to the widget, and that'll expand the view. You can also add different filters. So you'll see this is a text-based filter, this is a range filter, this is a numeric filter. So if I dropped this on here, this is great for viewing different KPIs. So this will return like the count of rows, or if I wanted to do like the sum of a specific column, you can use a number widget to do that. You can bring in the filter tool and select your data set, and you can choose whatever field it is that you want to filter on. So if we want to filter our opportunity data by the stage that it's in, we can click create. And then if we click preview, you'll see our values here, and all the data will get filtered once you select it. This obviously isn't a great dashboard, but I'm just kind of showing you some of the different components within the dashboard tool and how you build them. And then I'll show you a dashboard that I built later on, this opportunity prioritization dashboard, which has all of our predictive values stored in it. And I will later embed that. So that's just that's how you build visualizations within Tableau CRM. Really, lenses are used to explore your data, and you can add the lenses to your dashboards, or you can just build a dashboard either from a template or from scratch, and then you can add, drag and drop different components onto your canvas, link it to one of your data sets, and then you can build a visual from that. So next, I'm going to jump into data science within Tableau CRM. And
just a quick one for you there, Alex.
Yep.
I think that was the best dashboard I've ever seen that you make, by the way. So just kidding. I know you got the skills. We do have a late one here from Phil, by the way, for the data management aspect. Does the prep aspect have the right to capabilities back to Salesforce itself, or do you have to push it out as a data set to use it?
Yes, that's a great question.
Yeah, noting on the, I think you covered this in a user group before, but how we could leverage row level permissioning, I think is also what he noted here would be a strong feature if that was the case.
Got it. Okay, so question one was, do you have to, does the output tool, can it only write your data preparation to a data set, or can you write that data back into Salesforce? That's right. The answer is you can also write back into Salesforce. That's kind of a separate process, which I'm not going to get into, but because it requires just some additional configuration. But yes, you can write data back into Salesforce. So if I were to select, instead of data set, I selected output connection. I've already set up this Salesforce output connection. You can write all this information back to a specific Salesforce object. So I can choose account.
Yep.
And then you choose an operation. So am I inserting these records as new account records? Am I updating the information within existing records, or am I upserting, which will look for existing records, and if they don't exist, then it will insert these records. So yes, you can write back to Salesforce, and that is definitely a great use case of Tableau CRM. Just if you want to do data enrichment from external systems, Tableau CRM is a great tool to do that. So like an example would be if like maybe you have some sort of like financial billing information stored in like an ERP system, or you have some data that lives in Snowflake that doesn't live in Salesforce. You can connect to that data, bring it into Tableau CRM. You can link it up to, you can use a common field to join the data, and then you can update existing records, or you can insert it into a new object that you create within Salesforce. So yeah, it's really great for data enrichment, or just really augmenting your Salesforce instance. And then the second part of the question was related to security. And so one of the great things about Tableau CRM is that since it's built on top of Salesforce, works seamlessly with the Salesforce platform, and it inherits all security that you've set up within Salesforce. So there are two different security measures within Tableau CRM. One is called sharing inheritance. And so if you enable that, only the data that you see within like a visualization that's built in Tableau CRM is only visible to those who have access to view that data within Salesforce. So it inherits all the different security rules that are set up within Salesforce. You can also write security predicates, which are just if-then statements pretty much that are used to build custom security rules. And so those typically, like, best practice is using sharing inheritance first, but if that doesn't get the job done, then you would add a security predicate to resolve whatever security issue you might be facing. All right. So any other visualization questions, Nick?
I think that's all I saw for that one. I like the row level permissioning ensures a strong aspect to this, so thanks for that. Yeah, I think that's it for now.
Okay, cool. So with that being said, I'll go into the data science piece of Tableau CRM, and this basically building predictions within Tableau CRM. To do that, you use Einstein Discovery. So as I showed before, you can get a license just to build predictions, which is the Einstein prediction license, or you can get just the Tableau CRM license, which would allow you to do everything we've done so far, which is prepare your data using Data Manager and then visualize it, or Tableau CRM Plus, which lets you do everything we've done so far and what I'm going to show you how to do now, which is build a predictive model. So if I go back within my app, to build a predictive model, you need to create a story. And so you can just click, similar to how I created a dashboard up here, you can click create and then create a story. So I'm going to, and like dashboards, there are templates. So these are some common stories that are created. I'm going to just create from a data set. I'm going to choose this opportunity data set that we used already. And so up here, you choose the outcome variable. So what you want to analyze. So the purpose of this story that I'm going to build is to predict how likely it is that a specific opportunity is going to be won. And so we have a field within the opportunity object that indicates whether an opportunity has been won or not. And that field name is just one. So we want to analyze the one field. And once you select that field, then you can choose if you want only insights, or if you want insights and predictions. So insights only will give you descriptive insights about your data set. So it'll tell you, what happened within your data set. Insights and predictions give you those descriptive analytics, but also predictive and prescriptive analytics. So for this purpose, we're going to use insights and predictions. And this is where you map your input variables that you choose back to the fields within your data set. So you can either let Einstein do that for you, or you can manually configure them. And then you can create a story from there. Stories take a while to build. So I'm going to close out of this and open a story that I already built, which basically is doing the same exact thing as what I built. And I'll just kind of show you what my story looks like. So I'm maximizing that one field. So that's my outcome variable. Was the opportunity one, or was it not one? And the different input variables that I chose are lead source, annual revenue, which is from the account object, the amount of the opportunity, the industry of the opportunity, and the type of the opportunity, as well as the number of employees at the account that the opportunity is aligned to. So these input variables are what's being used to build my prediction and output a probability as to how likely it is that this specific opportunity will be won. So once you build your story, you are brought to this view, and this is the Insights tab. So this shows you all the descriptive insights about your data set that you built your story from. So you can see your input variables here, and you can see the correlation of these input variables to your output variable, and they are ranked in order of statistical significance. So clearly this is not a great model, since there's not a lot of correlation between these input variables and whether or not an opportunity is likely to be won. But that's not really a problem for this demo, because I just made up a bunch of random data. So it makes sense that there aren't very many correlations. But within this Insights tab, you can see, when does 1 equal to true? So that means when the opportunity was 1, when does that happen the least? And so Einstein will automatically give you some insights about that based on what's in your data set. And you can kind of scroll through here and see, if there are any, if Einstein found anything that's significant. So this helps you just get a better understanding of what is happening within your data. If you go to the Model tab, you can view the accuracy of your model. So as I said before, it's not a very great model, but this is kind of where you go to review like your R-squared value or AUC, and see how accurate it is that your model is. You can also view what kind of algorithm is being used. So if I go back to edit story, over here in algorithm, you can see the different types of algorithms that you can use within Einstein Discovery to make your predictions. So these 4 algorithms are your options, but you can also use this model tournament option, which will run all 4 algorithms. And then it will choose an algorithm based on the performance of all of them. So it'll automatically select the best performing model for you. So you can also view just the different predictions that Einstein came up with based on your input variables. And so here we can just kind of review. So like this specific example had a score of, so it has like a 74% chance that this specific opportunity will be won. So once you've built your story, your model is automatically created. And then you can kind of play around with the different algorithms to see what works. Once you're satisfied with that, you can choose to deploy your model. And to do that, you click this drop down and deploy. And so you can choose, if you're making adjustments to an existing model, you can update it, or you can deploy it as a new model. So if we wanted to deploy it as a new model, you have two options. You can deploy it without connecting to a Salesforce object, or you can deploy it by connecting it to a Salesforce object. In order to deploy your model and connect it to a Salesforce object, your input variables that are used to predict the outcome have to map to fields within Salesforce. So as you saw before, my input variables were things like opportunity source, number of employees at an account, the revenue of the account, and the amount of the opportunity. Those are all fields within Salesforce. So if we look here, we have the type of opportunity, the amount of the opportunity, and then if we click the account that the opportunity is associated with, we can see information around the number of employees, annual revenue, industry. So those fields they already exist within Salesforce. So in this specific example, I can deploy my model to a Salesforce object. If your input variables don't link to Salesforce fields, then you can deploy without connecting to a Salesforce object, and you can run your predictions directly within one of the data preparation tools. So since this prediction model is going to be used to predict specific opportunities, we're going to connect to the opportunity object. And here is where you map your fields. So it already mapped these since they are within the opportunity object. These three fields are on the account object. So I'm going to have to manually find these fields and map them. There's annual revenue. And then lastly, we need to map to the industry field within the account object. So now that everything's mapped, we can deploy this model to the opportunity object. And the cool thing about deploying it to an object is that once a new opportunity record is created within Salesforce, a prediction will automatically be created by Einstein. And that prediction is based on the values that are populated within these specific fields. And we can store the predictions from Einstein by creating a new prediction field, or we can set up a field in advance. But I'm just gonna create a field called test. And you can create what's called a terminal state, which is used to compare the prediction to the actual outcome. So in order to do that, you just need to map what the outcome is. So in this case, it would be when the one field on the opportunity object is equal to true, because we want to predict when an opportunity is likely to be true. And if an opportunity is 1, that value will be changed to true. So when the field 1 is equal to true. And so this allows us to monitor the accuracy of the model. You can segment data. So if I wanted to filter my data set by like industry or something like that, you can click the segment button and do that. I'm not going to. And you can also choose actionable variables. So this, by selecting different variables, Einstein will give you prescriptive insights around how you can improve the predicted outcome. So for an example, if we create an opportunity that has a 77% chance to be 1, Einstein might say, if the lead source is equal to webinar, you would have an 80% chance of winning this specific opportunity. So when you're selecting these variables, you want to make sure you're selecting variables that you have control over. So I wouldn't want to select like the employees field, because I don't have control over the number of employees at an account. But I'll just select a few here. And then once you've gone through all those stages, then you can deploy your model. So the last step of this demo is to embed everything within Salesforce so you can deliver insights directly to your sales team. And that's really the main value proposition of Tableau CRM, is delivering insights directly to your Salesforce users so that they don't need to leave Salesforce to access some other tool. Everything is just delivered to them within their flow of work. So since we've built a predictive model and we've deployed it to the opportunity object, if we go back to Salesforce and click to a specific opportunity, you can edit the page layout for an opportunity record, and you can add a prediction. So over here, you'll see Einstein predictions. You can add this to the page layout, which I've already done. And that is where your prediction will show up. And so to do that, you just drag Einstein predictions wherever you want to view it, and then you select your model that you deployed. And so now that we're within, so now if you're looking at a specific opportunity record, you will see the likelihood that an opportunity will be won. So this specific opportunity is an 83% chance of being won. And I'll create just a test opportunity so you can see how this works. So we'll call this predicted op. I'm going to just choose a random account. We'll say it's an existing customer that came from the web. The amount is 650,000. Choose a random close date. So once we hit save, you'll see that we have a prediction for this new opportunity. And that all comes from these fields that I populated on both the opportunity object as well as the fields that exist within the account that I linked the opportunity to. So that's one way to deliver predictive insights directly to your Salesforce users, is by embedding a model within a specific Salesforce object. And then you can see record level predictions by doing so. So now if we wanted to help our sales team prioritize their workload based on the probability that their opportunities are going to be won, we can build a visualization that ranks the likelihood and helps our sales team choose what they should be focusing on. So if I go back to recipes within data management, you can apply your model that you built directly to a data set. So this data set is doing the same thing as the one before. We're joining the opportunity and the account objects so that we can get all of our fields that are used as input variables in our predictive model, so that we can run the model on this data set. And here we're filtering our opportunities so that we're only looking at the opportunities that are open, not the opportunities that have been won already. So by bringing in this discovery predict tool, then we can map these different fields that we have within our data set or within the data prep tool to the input variables within our model. And then we can output these predictions to a data set, or you could output them elsewhere, like directly in Salesforce, as we talked about before. And so I've output these to the opportunity predictions data set, which I'll open up. So if we look at this data set, we look at a values table, you'll be able to see the we'll be able to see the likelihood that an opportunity is 1 by clicking the field that you created. So the predicted 1 field is showing how likely it is that this specific opportunity will be 1. And so now that you have a data set that stores your predictions, you can build a dashboard using those values. So that's what I've done here. So this shows just a simple dashboard that shows in descending order the win likelihood for each of your opportunities. And you can filter this by, you could add like an owner to this filter. You can filter it by the stage that the opportunity is in. Then you can see different metrics about your opportunities. And then here you can see just a data table to get some more information about the opportunities that you're looking at. So similar to embedding predictions within the opportunity object, you can also embed visualizations within Salesforce, which I've done on the homepage. And it's done the same exact way as embedding predictions. You just edit the page layout and you add a Tableau CRM dashboard to your homepage. And so from here, if I'm a sales rep focused on the banking industry, I can see the win likelihood for all of these opportunities. So if I wanted to spend my time on opportunity for homes, this test opportunity, since it has the highest likelihood, I can click this drop down and I can open that record. And then I can start trying to win this opportunity based on the actionable insights that were presented to me using a combination of Tableau CRM and Einstein Discovery. So with that being said, are there any questions about the demo I just walked through? If not, I can conclude the webinar by just answering some common questions I've come across and just highlighting, just reiterating why Tableau CRM is an important platform.
Yeah, I didn't see anything specific come around to that last piece, but it was awesome to see a really cool demo. I guess one question that I asked first was Tableau CRM, because I thought it was kind of confusing naming structure, but I get it now. Thanks to the webinar. Everyone's going to ask, why use Tableau CRM versus Tableau and vice versa?
Right. So really, when choosing between the two tools, it really comes down to who's going to be using the end product and what kind of tools do they use. So for instance, if you're building a product that is going to be used by multiple departments that either don't use Salesforce, or maybe some departments use Salesforce, but some don't, and it's going to be kind of an enterprise-wide dashboard, Tableau is a better choice than Tableau CRM. However, if the end product is going to be used by customer-facing teams like your sales team or your customer service or support teams or marketing teams, and these teams spend a ton of time in Salesforce, Tableau CRM is a great tool to deliver insights directly to these teams, because they no longer will have to leave Salesforce to go find insights by accessing some external tool. Everything is delivered to them within Salesforce. So it reduces the time it takes to analyze information, can help them prioritize their workload, and they can help your organization become more data driven.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thanks.
Of course. And so that was that's one of the main questions that I've been asked is, when to choose Tableau CRM over Tableau. And also, is Tableau CRM free, which we went over before, looking at the different licenses and pricing structures. So yeah, if your organization uses Salesforce and you have licenses to, like Sales Cloud, for instance, Tableau CRM is an additional license that you purchase on top of the cloud that you use, which gives you access to Tableau CRM and lets you do all the cool things that we just walked through. And lastly, for those who are curious about Tableau CRM and want to start, playing around with the platform and learn more about it, you can get started by visiting this URL, which I'll put in the chat. And so you can just input some information and then you can get set up with a free Tableau CRM enabled Salesforce instance, which is exactly what I used during this demo. And it comes with some sample data and access to a Tableau CRM growth license, which gives you access to both Tableau CRM and Einstein. And that's just a great way to just learn more about the platform. You can also go to Trailhead and type in like Tableau CRM, for instance, and you can this is Salesforce's learning platform, and you can complete different modules like this Discover Tableau CRM trail, and that'll give you a better understanding of Tableau CRM. And you can also, there are also different projects that you can work on within Trailhead, and it's just a great way to skill up and find different use cases. And yeah, within Tableau CRM. So I'll put this link within the chat.
Cool. And with that, we are at time. So any last words before we wrap? All right. Well, thank you, Alex, for the demo. Much appreciated. I think anyone who wants to can probably reach out to you on LinkedIn. I'm guessing that's an okay thing to say here. Alex Carter, Tessellation. And with that, we'll make this recording available for the future in case anyone else wants to access it, and that'll be can be found on either Tessellation or the datacoach.com website. Awesome. All right. Cool. Well, thanks again. And everyone else on the call, have a great one. And people watching this in the future, hit us up. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Thanks, everyone, for joining.